Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, then we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in my past video library pops up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, so Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. And I also have the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So again, sorry I was late. As I was putting stuff together because I forgot that this was Comic-Con at Home week. So there's usually a lot of news that pops out there. They did a really horrible job at advertising it this year. Last year they were all over the place with it. Comic-Con at Home, pushing it, and it was a big disappointment. And this year I heard nothing about it. I mean, I had no emails about it, nothing. And yeah, they really were not pushing anything about it whatsoever. So I want to talk a little bit about that, about Comic-Con at Home. It's pretty much worthless. It really is. I talked about this last year when it happened, and it was lame. I mean, just completely lame. It was all pre-recorded shit. Really, I was just like, just release the stuff. Let us, take a look at it. You don't need to do a pre-recorded panel, if you will, because then no one can ask questions or anything like that. It's boring. It really is boring watching that kind of stuff. Pre-recorded videos, you know what I'm talking about. This live stuff you could do live on YouTube, so easy. And yes, you can even have moderators to screen things. You can have delays on the chat, all kinds of stuff. It's not that difficult. Comic-Con does have money. They can do this kind of stuff. It's just that they don't want to. Yeah. Stanley says, "You traitorous trout, starting without pre-warning." Pre-warning what? That I wasn't spoiling anything. And by the way, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. There you go. Now I spoiled something for you. Oh yeah, and Old's a really bad movie from what I understand. So people get old on a beach. That's really what it is. Oh wait, am I in the wrong? Spoiler alerts tomorrow. That's what it is. Okay. Hey Keith. So God, sorry, my stomach is gurgling for some reason. Okay, let's get to some other stuff here. So yeah, Comic-Con at Home. It's pretty lame, is really what it is. Just release your shit. Release your trailer like the Dune trailer, which you did. The Dune trailer, again, it's pretty looking. It's very pretty looking, but it's the story that matters. I'm going back to Blade Runner 2049, which is also by Dennis Villeneuve. It's very pretty. It's very stylishly. It looks great and everything, but it's boring as fuck. It's probably one of the most boring movies I actually slept through, I should say. So I'm glad this is coming out on HBO Max at the same time it's coming out in theaters. That way I can pause it when I get really sleepy and I can go do something else, then come back to it and just watch it in bits. Because I'm fairly sure that's what's going to end up happening, that I'm going to end up falling asleep during it. And that comes out, by the way, October 22nd. So originally it was supposed to come out next month, and then they held off until October 22nd. So yeah. Stanley says the Dune trailer looks great, and here the Dennis Villeneuve hate continues, is what Stanley says. I got some news for you, Stanley, too, in a little bit, which you'll be proud of and you'll really like. Yes, and it has to do with Outlander. But yeah, I am not a fan of Dennis Villeneuve. I've already said this. His stuff is fucking boring. He's a great video director. If they were still doing music videos, he would be in the top of his prime. If they were still doing music videos, things like that. Um, yeah, he would be awesome at that because he's a great visual director. He sucks at story. Sorry, he just does. He really does suck. You would think the two go hand in hand. They really don't. You need to have some skill in order to balance the story along with the visuals. And yeah, that's something he just doesn't have. I'm sorry. Stanley says it seems I like boring or I have no, I didn't say that. Uh Stanley, you have your likes and your dislikes, same as me. So yeah, that trailer's out there. Like I said, it looks visually, it looks very pretty, but I hold judgment until it comes out on HBO Max, which I'll be happy with. Speaking of HBO Max, Michael B. Jordan, his production company, and most likely he's going to be starring in this too. He's going to be bringing the Val-Zod version of Superman to a limited series run on HBO Max. And who is Val-Zod, you ask? So Val-Zod is an Earth 2 Superman. Kal-El on his world in Earth 2 in the comics dies in a Darkseid invasion. Darkseid kills him, and so Val-Zod steps up and becomes, excuse me, the new Superman of Earth 2. And yes, he is black. So, I mean, uh, that's perfectly fine. This is going to be a good movie. I mean, Michael B. Jordan's a comic book nerd. I didn't like what he did Without Remorse, or Without Remorse was kind of a shitty movie. Let's just face it. It really was. It was a shitty adaptation of a book. And the book, I read the book, the Tom Clancy book. That is a Punisher ripoff. It really is. It's a Punisher ripoff. So it was pretty bad. So anyway, but looking forward to Val-Zod. Like I said, it's a limited series run on HBO Max. This is separate from the J.J. Abrams shit fest that he's going to do, the Superman movie that he's going to do. Because J.J. Abrams just is out there to ruin every fucking franchise he can. And yes, he's going now after Superman. So there you have it. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that piece of shit, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, less said about J.J. Abrams, the better. Marvel is going to have its own in-house animation branch in mini studio. That's actually pretty cool. Before I get started there, Keith Hamilton says, "Are you going to wade into the Masters Universe Revelations controversy?" No, Keith, I will not. I'm going to be doing a review of that on Tuesday on Is It Worth My Time? So I'll talk about Masters Universe Revelations. So, spoiler alert, I'm not a big fan of this one. But then again, I'm not a big fan of Kevin Smith. And I just want to say, I told you so. So, that's all I'll say about that one. Going back to the Marvel in-house animation studio and mini studio, or in-house animation and mini studio, I'm actually looking forward to that. That actually is going to be really kind of cool. They are going to be doing a whole bunch of their animating a whole bunch of different stories. They're actually going to be taking some of the stuff that they're going to be doing for Disney Plus, like the studio stuff, is now going to be done in-house. I mean, everything's going to be centralized in one location, kind of like what they've been doing with the movies. Now they're going to do with the TV shows and the animation. So animation, TV shows, movies are all going to be tightly looked after and cultivated and planned out, unlike the DC universe or DCEU. So Stanley says maybe he could imitate the Donner movies. He's quite good at imitating. No, he's not that great at imitating Stanley. He's good at aping some stuff. Like he, yeah, with the Super 8, he did Steven or tried to do Steven Spielberg, and it was just pretty bad. But I'm not looking forward to J.J. Abrams at all. Penn says, "How do all these franchises keep bringing in JJ? I don't know. I really don't know, to tell you the truth. Well, again, it was WB, so the executives have perpetual Coke tubes shoved up their ass that are being blown. They've got Coke being blown in there. So, butt chugging, as it's called, as what the kids call it. So they are pretty much high most of the time and don't really care as long as the money keeps rolling in for them. So Philip says, at least Dennis never stoops to saying, I told you. I did, Philip. I did say I told you so, and I do it on a routine basis. So, nya, 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 nya. Is the animation only going to be only Disney Plus? We don't know as of yet. I have a feeling that it will be. Who knows? They might do animated movies as well, which would be kind of cool. But I'm guessing everything's gonna be Disney Plus. That's what I'm guessing at. Hey, filthy news. Stanley says Super 8 comes to mind. It was okayish. I saw Super 8 in the theater and I was very disappointed by it. I mean, it just this is the early days when J.J. Abrams we thought had promise, and then I saw that and I'm like, oh, he's just another poser. Okay, got it. Word 79, how's it going? Words, I watched Dune. I couldn't get into it. Which one are you talking about? The 80s Dune, Word 789? Or did you watch the new one that just came out? Did you see a sneak preview of it or something? I know there have been people that have gotten into screenings and stuff like that. The Lynch Dune, that's what we're talking about. Apple Crow says the same thing, Lynch Dune, which, yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about by Dune 1. Are you talking about the 1980s Dune that had Kyle MacLachlan in it and Patrick Stewart and all those guys? The really old Dune, because it was the 80s. So that's, 40 years, almost 40 years now at this point. So, yeah, you mean the old Dune. Okay, yeah. The old Dune was a product of its time. He did what he could with the technology he had, and I think he did a great job of it. I actually watched it fairly recently, like last month, and liked it. I liked it a lot. Stanley says, after Loki, the one Fahey to rule them all doesn't mean that much anymore. The MCU can diverge now. It can, but there are still rules involved, Stanley. I actually said last week that Fahey got out of a meeting and said they had set rules for the multiverse. So they do have rules for the multiverse now within the MCU. So take that with whatever you want to say there. Apple Crow says, I'm a big Dune fan. Each of the film versions has their merits. Yeah, like I said, I'm not looking forward to this one. It's going to be pretty. It's going to look beautiful, but it's probably going to be it's like Blade Runner 2049. It looked beautiful, but it was boring as fuck. It really was. Apple Crust, I've recently gotten into making cocktails as a hobby, and a Dune themed cocktail is my first creation. I call it Walk Without Rhythm. Okay. Yeah, I believe in Yellowbeard. That's also called a Yellowbeard apple crow because if you ever saw the movie Yellowbeard with Graham Chapman and like Cheech and Chong are in it and Cloris Leachman, there's a lot of people that are in that. In order to find the map to the treasure, it was stagger, crawl, roll, jump, stagger, crawl, roll, jump. Yeah. So because he was drunk when he did the map, and never mind. That's one of my other little favorite guilty pleasure movies that no one ever really has seen is Yellowbeard. Yeah. Stanley says the saddest part about Dune is that we will be stuck with half a story because it will bomb and there'll be no part two. Most likely. And I'm not going to say it's going to bomb because of, I know there's a whole controversy of it being out in theaters and on streaming. I think it's just going to bomb because of the director. But that's just me. And everyone's like, no, it's not going to. And I'm like, look at Blade Runner 2049. That was supposed to be a trilogy. And what happened? Is there a part two and a part three? Was there a part two? No, there wasn't. There wasn't a part two and part three of Blade Runner 2049. And that was pre-pandemic. And it had all its opportunity to make that money, and it never did. Oh, God, don't get me started about that movie. That movie pissed me off. Anyway, on to some happier stuff. Well, no, this isn't really all that happy. Zack Snyder's production company has signed a first look deal with Netflix, which also means we're getting an Army of the Dead 2 on the way. Yay, said no one except for Zack Snyder fans. Yeah. I am not looking forward to Army of the Dead 2, nor its prequel, nor the animated thing that's coming out on Netflix. None of it. Yeah, I'm think I'm done with Zack Snyder with watching anything from Zack Snyder, unless I have to for my channel here. That's pretty much it. He really sucks. He really does as a director, as a writer. So yeah, I'm done with that. Stanley says another Snyder movie to ignore. Exactly. Another Snyder movie to ignore. But supposedly Army of the Dead has 75 million viewers or 75 million views, I think is what they said, somewhere around there. And I'm like, okay. So that's kind of cool that Netflix was able to do that. But the thing is, you think about that 75 million views, that's individual people. Is what you're looking at. Yes, Netflix, you can sit down with a group of people and watch a movie, but trust me, when was the last time you sat down with someone to watch Netflix? You know, normally people are watching it by themselves on their phones or their tablets or computers. Rarely do they watch it on TV. I'm one of those weirdos because I live by myself, so I can actually do that on a big TV and watch whatever the hell I want. So, other than the dog gets, demanding about stuff that she wants to watch too. So, Apple Crow says, I would hope that Army of the Dead 2 would at least make Alex Kurtzman sad that his dark universe went nowhere. Man. So this is actually pretty good news, somewhat. Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy's production company, they're going to be producing the Amazon series, The Peripheral, based on William Gibson's novel. And it's actually got a pretty good cast, too. Let me call it up here because I forgot to write down the cast that's there. So it's going to be a recurring series. They just cast Alexandra Billings as a detective. But Chloe Grace Moretz is in it, and Jack Rayner is in it. And if you know who Chloe Grace Moretz is. So yeah, I don't need to say anything more than that. But yeah, there you go. What is it about? What is The Peripheral about? I actually forgot to tell you that too, didn't I? The Peripheral is actually about a sideload program. No, it's the novel centers on Flynn, who is Moretz's character, and her brother Burton, who is Rayner. Burton in the novel is a veteran of the Marine Corps' elite hepatic recon force and is hired for a security job that takes place in what he thinks is cyberspace. When Flynn temporarily takes his place, she witnesses something that might have been a murder. Bum, bum, bum. And so I just want to remind you, William Gibson is a known technophobe, and he writes about sci-fi about technology. So there you have it. That's why I've never been able to get into William. I was always wondering why William Gibson's sci-fi just seemed so foreign to me and didn't resonate with me. And then when I found out that he everything he writes is on an old style, typewriter, and he actually is afraid of technology to the point where he doesn't want to use any of it and keeps it away from himself. And I'm like, yeah, he is a Luddite. He is pretty much a Luddite, Stanley. And I was like, okay, and you're writing sci-fi about cyberspace and stuff like that. And okay, that's the reason why. Yeah. Because I was always wondering why when I read his stuff, it just didn't resonate with me at all. And it seemed false and just crappy for some reason. Same with Brian Herbert. Yeah. There are a few people out there that, famous people, I guess you could say, are famous, if you will, that are Luddites. So, yeah. Applecrust says, but at least Gibson's creations are his own. That's true because he doesn't have the internet to look it up. Oh, I'm sorry. That was actually just too good to pass up. And it was funny and true at the same time. The Russo brothers have tapped the Fast and the Furious 9 screenwriter for a Battle of the Planet script. Excuse me. So back in 2019 Comic-Con, the Russo brothers announced that they were actually going to be doing a Battle of the Planets. We don't know if it was a movie or a series or what it was going to be, but now they've actually gotten serious about this and they've hired a screenwriter to do a script for Battle of the Planets. And if you don't know what Battle of the Planets is, it's a 1960s anime series that pretty much was the first thing to come over to the United States, I guess you could say mainstream wise for anime. And of course, in Japan, it's called something different. Uh, but it was a lot of Americans' first introduction to Japanese anime. And yeah, so it resonates with a lot of like baby boomers and people my age who weren't on the West Coast. See, those of us on the West Coast, especially those of us in the San Francisco Bay Area, had access to all this stuff because it came over in videos and film and all that kind of stuff because people would bring it when they came from Asia and they would bring that stuff with them. So like I've said millions of times before, I've been exposed to all this stuff since a very early age, and that's what I've fallen in love with, of course, as well. Yeah, Speed Racer was one of the other things as well. Exactly, Joker. Yes. Thank you, Joker. That's right. Science Ninja Team or Gatchaman. I can never remember what it was, if it was Spaceship Battleship Yamamoto, which I know is something else. Yeah. I never really got into the older stuff, like, the really older stuff. So yeah, Star Blazers, that's what it was. Star Blazers was Battleship Yamamoto. That's right. The Robotech was about my age group, is where that came in. Yeah. Applecrow says, fucking love Star Blazers as a kid. Yes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I want to see where this is going to go. This should be fun, especially if it's Russo brothers producing this. It should be good. They usually they hit quite more often than they miss. They have a really good accuracy rating, shall we say. I want to say at least an 88% accuracy rating on their hits, rather than their misses. And even their misses aren't bad. So, yeah. Yes, there is a Japanese. So the Japanese have already done live action versions of all of these already. And some of them are okay. And some of them are like, I don't know about those. But what did I watch? I think I watched the live action version of Star Blazers. Yes, I did watch that one. And I tried to forget about it because it was not that good. So Leslie Grace has been cast as Batgirl, and there's uproar, of course, because she is black. And of course, they're like, she's supposed to be a redhead, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, Jeffrey Wright, who's black, is playing Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movie that's coming out. So those two are linked together, and it'd be kind of weird to have a black Commissioner Gordon, have a redhead kid. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, I have no problem with Leslie Grace. We'll see what the hell Matt Reeves' Batman's going to be like. I'm ready to, give that one a shot and see what he's going to do. I don't know enough about Matt Reeves as a director yet. I mean, yes, he's done the the Apes movies and that kind of stuff, which are okay. They're not great, but they're all right. I want to see what he's going to do with the Batman movie, because I don't know if it's going to get more than one. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of people that don't know how to do Batman and Superman well. They just really don't. They try and put their own spin on things instead of sticking to the comics. The comics are your friends. Embrace them and actually roll with it. And that's what people want to see. They want to see the comics. They don't want to see your interpretation of the comics. I don't give a flying fuck what you as a director think Superman or Batman should be. In the comics is what it should be. That's what it should be. Flat out right there. That is the reason why you've never had a Batman or a Superman movie, current versions, I should say, make over $1 billion. All the Marvel movies, by the way, have made over $1 billion with the exception of like a handful, maybe 2 or 3 out of the 20 some odd movies, 22 movies that they've made. So Batman, a movie with a Batman or a Superman or even a Wonder Woman in it should easily make over $1 billion worldwide. They are the most recognizable worldwide characters in print, in media, and they really should be getting over $1 billion in sales. So there you go. See you, Pen. Have fun. So yeah, off my soapbox there. I did my little rant about what. I'm always pissed about the state of DC movies, DC Comics movies, that they really should be higher in quality and just, I mean, have a lot more thought put into them than they actually are, and they don't. More recognizable than Mickey Mouse. I believe Mickey Mouse is the most recognizable character, drawn character or whatever, Apple Crow. But I believe they said Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman are pretty much in the next tier. Marvel Comics, even, I mean, with Spider-Man being one of the top ones there, is still lower on the totem pole, if I remember correctly. This has been a while since the last time I saw, but since I read anything about that. Stanley says, talking about that kind of stuff, isn't Kang also a Richards? Yes, he is, Nathaniel Richards. And they, in the finale of Loki, I should say episode 5 of Loki, they actually called that out a little bit. They had a building in the background that was in homage to Nathaniel Richards. Yeah. Stanley says, too many generations in between, or will Mr. Fantastic look similar to Kang? Don't know. Don't really care, to tell you the truth. As long as they do Fantastic Four well. That's what I'm looking at. If you want to have a black Mr. Fantastic, as long as it, you don't change the character into some, media mogul who happens to do science on the side and all that kind of stuff. No, don't fuck with the fucking character. That's all I'm going to say. I don't care who plays him as long as they play him well. Yeah. Everyone else who keeps complaining about it, it's just, I'm just going to say it's racism. Is really what it is. Yeah. He'll be a YouTuber. That's exactly it, Stanley. He'll be doing science on YouTube. That's what he'll be doing. And all his money is from YouTube ads. He's got millions of subscribers. He's also on Instagram as well. And yeah, he's and also on TikTok as well. That's what it is. So he's making all his money off of like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, from all of the experiment videos that he puts out there. I like your thinking, Stanley. And Kevin Feige, if you're out there, do not run with that fucking idea because that's a horrible idea. And I blame Stanley completely for that one. Um, Sung Kang, who of course plays Han in the Fast and the Furious movies, there's a rumor out there that he's going to be playing the main villain in the Obi-Wan Disney Plus series. He's going to be playing Fifth Brother, who is of course an Inquisitor, which I'm actually kind of jazzed about. Tell you the truth, I was thinking about it, and I was like, that could work. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar voiced what was it, second sister, I think is what it was, or third sister, I can't remember who it was, in Rebels. And Fifth Brother was actually in Rebels as well as one of the Inquisitors. So having him hunting down Obi-Wan Kenobi would make sense. I mean, we know that Vader is the one that actually made the Inquisitors, or actually started the whole Inquisitor thing. And having one of the Inquisitors hunting down Obi-Wan would be fucking brilliant. It would be nice, especially in the series. But the thing is, we know that Obi-Wan is still alive at the time of Rebels. Would that mean that, Fifth Brother never gets wind of him, or never knows him, or forgets about him, or something like that? Because I mean, yeah, that's where it becomes problematic. So that's where I don't really think it's going to happen, but it'd be nice to actually have it. And speaking of rumors, it's rumored that it's been, so this is kind of a weird one. The rumor is that Mina Masood and Lars Mikkelsen have both been confirmed as playing the live action versions of Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Both of which, if you remember, I reported here months ago. I want to say last year, somewhere around that time. So there was a press statement at the time I originally said it, that disappeared, that said that Lars Mikkelsen was cast as Grand Admiral Thrawn. Mina Masood is the other hand, there was no official announcement that was ever made, but the Lars Mikkelsen, I do remember posting on my Facebook page, by the way, that was an official casting, and then they disappeared it. They you know do what they do at Disney, and try and wipe everything out. So it doesn't. And by the way, Lars Mikkelsen is the one who voices Grand Admiral Thrawn in the animated series. So this is great. I mean, I like the way he voices Thrawn. Even when he's exerting himself, he's still calm and menacing. And that's what Thrawn is supposed to be. And I want to see that live action. I really do. Of course, this is for the Ahsoka series that we're talking about. So we already know that the Ahsoka series is coming. We know that, of course, she's going to be looking after what happened with Ezra and Thrawn, because that's how we left off in Rebels, with Ezra and Thrawn going to someplace. They jetted out to the outskirts of the galaxy. We don't know exactly where. And so Ahsoka and, of course, Sabine Wren were supposed to be looking for Ezra and Thrawn. Well, actually, they're looking for Ezra, but Ahsoka also wants to kill Thrawn. So yes, that is what is the rumor there. The rumor that they've been officially cast. Oh my god. Some of the shit that I find, it's ridiculous. So, yeah. Injustice is coming to the small screen in an animated movie. So for those of you who aren't aware of Injustice, Injustice is a great video game that's been out there. It's got two versions of it right now, Injustice and Injustice 2. And in it, it's an alternate universe. It's DC, by the way, so it's DC comics related. In it, in an alternate world, the Joker has tricked Superman into killing Lois Lane, who's pregnant, by the way. And Superman basically snaps. I mean, he fucking out and out snaps. He goes and kills the Joker and then says, "Fuck you, I'm taking over everything." He goes, "You people do not know what you can do here." And he basically goes and takes over everything. And Batman and a handful of the other Justice Leaguers are trying to fight against him. And of course, are doing a piss poor job. They're getting their asses handed to them. So in the game is kind of more of a Mortal Kombat esque kind of game, but there was a comic that came out, Injustice Gods Among Us. And that is what the movie is going to be based on. The animated movie is going to be based on that comic, which is actually really good. I've read, I want to say the first two of them, and it was really damn good. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I am interested in that. That actually looks pretty good, and of course, the DC animation house does a really good job of that. So let me see what else I've got here. Like I said, there's a lot of news that I've got here. Oh yeah, August 23rd, The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf comes to Netflix, and I posted the trailer up on my Facebook page, of course. Um, so yeah, that actually looks pretty good. It looks like fun. The animation looks a little wonky, but the story looks good. Stanley said the cutscenes in the game were quite good. Yeah, the cutscenes are actually good. The game was fun, man. I like the game, even though it's a Mortal Kombat kind of game. I kind of liked it, and I think I have a level 20 Batman um, on my Injustice 2, if I remember correctly. I built him up pretty big. I remember that. My Batman was a badass. Yeah. Stanley says I'm too bad at fight games. Batman was actually a pretty big powerhouse. If you got some good gear, and I was getting a lot of good gear for a while there. As a matter of fact, I think the gear that I have left now that I put on him is all related to each other because they have sets of gear that you can put in. And so yeah, I think I got the entire set for him, and they're all like super rare or something like that. So yeah, so it just amped him up big time. And he kicks the shit out of people. I have Hellboy as well. I actually went and splurged and bought the Hellboy one in there. There's a couple others that I bought too, which were kind of cool. Stanley says in the story you couldn't always choose who you play. In Injustice 2 you could. Injustice 2 you could actually so they had tournament style too, where you could actually build up your characters, and then you set them so that when of course when you're away, people can fight your characters online, even though you're not there. And as long as you had them, their stats set up well. Oh, you're talking about the first one? Okay. Yeah, I played the first one as well. This is one of the rare games I kind of really got into. I had it on my phone at one point, and I had to delete it because I was just, it's taking up a lot of time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Speaking of video games, Anna Torv, from Fringe. Remember Olivia from Fringe? Yeah. She's going to join the cast of HBO's The Last of Us series as Tess. And I guess Tess was a smuggler. I never played The Last of Us. I know a lot of people here have, but I haven't. But she's joined the cast as a recurring character, Tess, who is supposed to be a smuggler in this world. I haven't watched the Mindhunter series either, and I know she's in that. I kind of had wondered what happened to Anna Torv after Fringe, and she's just been in other stuff that I've never watched. So I hate to say that. Um, yes, it's a TV series on HBO Max. It's going to be a TV series, I guess you could say. Yes, Stanley. Let's see what else we've got here. Um, Oh yeah. So in relation to Dune, there was a series that HBO Max was going to do. They started this in 2017 and then scrapped it. Then 2019 they kind of brought it back, and then they scrapped it again. Now it's back again. Dune Sisterhood, which is supposed to be a prequel, of course, of the priestesses, I guess you could say, has a new showrunner, and it's back and running. So, excuse me. Diane Ademujan is going to be the new showrunner for Dune, the Sisterhood. And this is after John Spates, who had previously been attached to this, stepped down in November 2019. So it's been vacant for a while there. So yeah, so that's what's happening there. Stanley Trill says the Mindhunter series was great, but maybe too boring for you, Dennis. Thanks, Stanley. I just never got into it. I'm not a big true crime person, which I know some people are. And true crime just doesn't do it for me. It has to be interesting for me. Applecrow says, my hope for this series is that the scrap of all the Brian stories and the writers for Sisterhood do a good job. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've never heard. I guess Brian Herbert was doing something on the Sisterhood, but I've never really looked into it. So, yeah. And this one, I believe, is for you, Stanley, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is. This is the one that's for you. I'm waiting for it to come up here. Wait a sec. Is this right? I don't think it is right. Sorry, I'm just Stephen Wolfenden, who of course is an Outlander series director, has stepped in to direct the first 2 episodes of the Disney Plus Willow series after the other director, Entwistle, had stepped down due to a scheduling conflict with his Apple TV Plus series, Hello Tomorrow. And of course, he had replaced John M. Chu, who had stepped down 2 weeks prior, citing also scheduling concerns. Well, first of all, I wasn't really looking forward to a Willow TV series on Disney Plus, but then having problems with it, you're on your third director now for just the first 2 episodes, because the first 2 episodes are supposed to be the basis, I guess, of the entire story for the whole series, and I'm not really jazzed about it. Yeah. Applecrow says, for context, I used to work in a bookstore and I'd tell people to read the Brian and Kevin J. Anderson books because they would never read anything that bad again. Oh, that's funny. Actually, Kevin J. Anderson, if I remember correctly, did one good book. And I don't have it here, but it's actually the Superman, The Last Days of Krypton book, which was actually decent. I have to admit, it was a decent book. And I believe he's the one that's credited with doing the whole, Brainiac is the one that's responsible for the destruction of Krypton because he was the computer that controlled Krypton. Yeah, and then it got corrupted and it went bad and blah 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 blah. Which is an interesting storyline. I mean, having Brainiac be the reason why Krypton explodes, and then the creation of Superman, as a direct result, and yada yada yada. I still like that it was just a natural disaster that could have been averted, but the other council members of Krypton were just too pig-headed to admit it, and basically censured Jor-El to not cause panic. And of course, the world explodes anyway. But he sends his son off to be saved. Did DC have a story group for licensed novels? I think whoever pitched an idea and then, one of the execs would come up from their cook pile and go, that sounds great. Go with it, kid. And they'd roll with it. And yeah, I don't know if they ever had anything that was actually licensed. Stanley says, I have little expectations for that Willow series. And to be a director on Outlander doesn't necessarily make you a bad director. I didn't say he was a bad director, Stanley. I just said he was an Outlander, that you'd be happy with that. Because I know you're a fan of Outlander. And big surprise to no one. Discussions for Jungle Cruise 2 are already underway at Disney. The movie hasn't even come out yet. Actually, I believe it comes out in next week. Yeah, it comes out next week. And yeah, I'm not going to see it in theaters. I'm not going to pay the $30 to watch it on Premiere Access on Disney either. I will wait the 3 months. I can wait until October when it comes out on Disney Plus, and I can watch it for free. Because yeah, it's The Rock and Emily Blunt. So, hey, Popeye Pliskin. Yeah, we had talked about that earlier, that the movie was no good. I read the synopsis for it, the spoiler synopsis, because I knew it was going to be bad to begin with, but yeah, I just read it. I was like, really? It's M. Night Shyamalan at this point. It should just go straight to their HBO Max and just let you watch it there for your the cost of your subscription. What else do I have here? I'm nearing the end of what I've got here. So Netflix and NBC, they're looking at a season 4 for Manifest, even though NBC canceled the series to begin with. So Netflix says they will not pick it up, of course. But then they said, well, we might do a season 4. And NBC is now looking at Warner Brothers TV, which, of course, is the one that makes it, and says, well, do you want to do a season 4 for us, maybe? And yeah. So I remember watching the very first episode and getting 17 seconds into it. I know because I saw how long it was on the timer bar. And the first thing that comes out is a religious quote. And I was like, fuck this. And I left because I knew it was going to be religious sci-fi, which is really what it was going to be. And yeah. I mean, I really don't like when they anytime religion tries to veil itself as something else and tries to push their agenda, I believe that's what the phrase is now, the common phrase, through some other media, it really turns me off and makes me violent, actually. And that was one of the things that made me violent, was Manifest. Just that 17 seconds in. Stanley says, I would like to watch Dune in the cinema, but in my backwater town, that would mean to watch it in German. So streaming it is. Hey, Raymond K. Hess, I didn't even see you come in. Careful, The Rock might come to your house and elbow you, jabroni. Dude, I think he's got more important people to elbow than me. I mean, doesn't he still have that feud going on with Vin Diesel? You know, over who's got the balder head, who has more shine off of their head, who has more baby oil that they can put on their bodies. Yeah. Popeye Pliskin says, I watched like 5 episodes on Manifest and lost interest. It's hard watching regular network TV shows. Yeah, I know, dude. It really is. I agree with you. It really is hard watching regular network TV shows. That's the reason why I don't cover CW shows anymore. I know that Stargirl is coming out season 2, August 10th here. And it was something I covered for season 1. I don't think I can do it. I honestly don't think I can do it for season 2. It was bad to begin with, so yeah, I'm pretty much saving everyone else on that. Raymond says, "Wasn't Battlestar based off of Mormonism?" I believe it was, Raymond, and yeah, that's another thing that's just I really don't like religion couched as, Trojan horsed into something else, is really what it is. When you're trying to indoctrinate people, with your religion by, veiling it as something else, fuck you. That's what I'm gonna say. We used to have that, in the town that in high school. We used to have Christian churches that would have, what is it? Like those, pancake breakfasts or something like that. They try and couch it as something really innocuous, and really what it was a sermon. I was trying to indoctrinate you into their church, and it's like, "No, fuck you." I think that's where I got it from and where I became very hostile about it, is because of that kinda shit. It's like, "Just give me your fucking pancakes, motherfucker, and shut up." Oh, there we go. Joker says returning to the WWE probably in a tag match. Hopefully. Stanley says, by the way, Dennis, I started watching the Mysterious Benedict Society. It's quite good, but maybe the episodes are a little bit too long. I agree with you there, Stanley. Yeah, there might be about 10 minutes too long. I agree with you on that. See, I do agree with you on things here and there. And you agree with me on things. You like the Mysterious Benedict Society. So yeah, I would say about 10 minutes too long. I agree with you. There's some stuff that could be shaved off. But, what do you think of the character Constance Contraire, which is my favorite character? She really is. She's just very dark and very, very Russian is really what she is, and makes me laugh every time. Especially this last episode where she talks to Rennie and she's like, "And you breathe like a fat old man. I could have gotten this sooner if you weren't breathing." Joker, oh, you're watching it too? What do you guys think? What do you think, Joker, of it? I'm actually enjoying it. I have to watch the new episode. I know it came out. So, the last bit of news that I've got here is actually good news. Winston Duke is going to be returning as Umbaku for Black Panther 2, which is great. He was actually my favorite character out of the first movie. Umbaku was actually a delight, to tell you the truth. He was a good character, and I'm glad Winston Duke's coming back for that. He said the reading of the script was very emotional for everyone. So yeah. Stanley says she's my favorite. She's like me attitude wise. Yeah, she is definitely my favorite. I have to admit, Constance Contraire. So um, just all the little quips that she says, especially again the last episode that I watched where she had been failing, but then all of a sudden she made it back up to the leaderboard, the green board. She goes, "I decided to try," which I guess was the same thing that I did when I was in school when I was younger. I never really so when I was young, I would say like 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there. I never understood the concept of why you needed to do well in school. I just understood that school was something you had to do, and so I never really tried. Until I was told that, "No, you need to try, you need to actually, participate in that stuff," and I was like, "Oh, okay," and so I always get, like, kinda, okay grades, and then when they told me, "Oh, you gotta try," and I was like, and then it went up. So, yeah. They are not gonna be recasting Shuri. She's laying really low right now, if you noticed. Have you noticed, Joe, that she's not on Twitter or anything like that? 'Cause, yeah. Popeye Pliskin says, "Do they know who the villain is for Black Panther 2 yet?" Yes, they do know, but of course they have it under wraps. They have the script already. So, yeah. Yeah, she got the Disney treatment, Joe Career. I'm fairly sure that firing what's her face from The Mandalorian was a warning to a lot of people in Disney that, you know what? You're not as safe as you think you are, and we can replace you. And they said, you know what? We had an entire series set up with her to be as the lead, and we shit can that. So what do you think we'll do to you? Um, Raymond says, do you think they'll give Martin Freeman a suit for a brief while? Maybe. Who knows? Stanley Tweedle says, who will be the new Black Panther? Someone from previous movie? Well, in the comics, it was Shuri. So I mean, it was his sister. She is, bloodline, part of the bloodline after all. So, and I'm okay with that, quite honestly, as long as the actress, doesn't do weird shit on Twitter like everyone else does. It worked out well and it made sense. I mean, I'm just wondering how they're gonna treat. I'm guessing they're gonna say that T'Challa died. I don't know how, or if they're gonna show it on screen, or if they're just gonna do it off screen and say, you know what, he died during this, or what's gonna happen, because that's gonna be kind of interesting, how they're gonna handle that. So we'll find out. We'll find out together. Yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of depressing shit in that movie, just because, surrounding Chadwick Boseman's death. So, yeah, but Popeye Pliskin says I'll probably start off at at his funeral right off the bat. That's my guess too, Popeye. That would be a good starting place. Yeah. Raymond K. Hessel says, but then how will they dance around not showing him in that afterlife dimension? They can always put in digital effects, Raymond. Disney has money, lots and lots of money. They can actually put in. I mean, if you can make Michael Douglas look young with digital effects, you can definitely put Chadwick Boseman's face on an actor and simulate his voice. Maybe she'll meet a CG version of the spirit world, or she might just meet her father. Who knows? Or maybe they'll just have that Black Panther disappeared. That could be it too. We don't know for sure. Yep, they can imitate voices very well. They just do digital sampling and pop it in. Popeye Pliskin says they could probably make the whole movie with Chadwick through effects. Yeah, they probably could. It'd be really fucking expensive, but they probably could do it. Yeah. That's if his estate would allow them to do it. That's the whole thing. I mean, there's that whole thing of people, bringing celebrities back from the dead to do, you know, cameos, commercials, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know if you remember the whole thing about Fred Astaire selling vacuum cleaners, I think is what it was, and things of that nature. And yeah, I mean, the estate is the one that ultimately makes that decision, but also it's just bad taste, I think. Yeah. All righty. So what else do I have going on this week? Well, tomorrow is going to be spoiler alert, where we get to talk about whatever's out right now without any filters, and that'll be a spoiler alert. We'll talk about with spoilers and everything. Monday I'll be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around will be Masters of the Universe Revelations. Yes, Masters of the Universe Revelations Part 1. because it's only part one of that's 5 episodes out of a 10 episode series. Wednesday I'll be off, Thursday I'll be off, and Friday will be Saturday morning, or excuse me, Star Wars The Bad Batch. There'll be a new episode of that. And then we roll back around again to Saturday morning blast off, where I take the genre news of the weekend and genre stuff you guys want to talk about when we talk about it. Paul Pliskin says, whatever happened with the Mobius movie, it's done. It actually finished, it wrapped filming the Morbius movie. Popeye. Stanley says, I will spoil episode 6 of the Benedict Society. Well, I'm going to be watching that later on today. Nah. So. Raymond K. Hessel says, oh, that's out? Yes, it's out. You haven't heard all the hubbub about it, Raymond? There's a lot of stuff that's been said about that series already. There's a lot of controversy, shall we say. And rightfully so. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go for the rest of the weekend, or the rest of the day, I should say, because tomorrow I'll be back for, spoiler alert. So thank you to everybody joining me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos is my vast video library and pops up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media, and all my pages are there too. The links to my pages there too. Back to Masters of the Universe for me is what's in. Yeah, I've got one more episode left too. I've got episode 5 to go. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out why there's a lot of controversy about Masters of the Universe Revelations. And yeah, we'll be talking about that on Tuesday. Anyway, thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, stay safe out there, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.